Hi, this is Rob Warlow from Business Loan Services and welcome to my Friday Business Finance Bulletin, my weekly roundup of news, tips, ideas and strategies on raising finance and dealing with banks. So what have I got for you this week? Well, we're going to be looking at a major piece of news coming out of the crowdfunding world. We'll also be looking at another alternative source of finance, friends and family. And in my business finance tip of the week, a clip from a seminar that I delivered in Amsterdam last weekend, looking at cash flow and the impact that stock has on the cash flow position. So let's start off. Well, here we are at the end of the first month of 2015 in January, and earlier this week we had our first team meeting of the Business Loan Services team, together with a new member of the team will be joining me in a couple of weeks. That brings us up to 4 team members. Obviously we're at the moment quite South Wales based, but the new guys starting on board is going to be Cheltenham, Gloucester, Swindon based, so starting to expand the team out further. What was interesting, we took a quick overview of the level of business that we've currently got on the table, and at the moment we've got deals totaling just under £20 million. So it's £20 million worth of finance deals in all different sectors, property development, construction, retail, holiday lets, a very wide range of businesses that we're supporting. So it's a real positive start for us and just shows actually about the level of appetite to borrow out there is clearly growing. Now obviously if you've got a deal that you want to discuss with one of the team members, just drop us an email, info@businessloanservices.co.uk. Now, one source of finance that we do use a lot and is growing in popularity, I've mentioned it many times, is crowdfunding. And I've mentioned before, but this concept of the old world meeting the new world. Well, this week has been a major announcement with RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland Group, actually formally announcing now that if they have said no to a small business owner where they can't help, they are now going to be formally introducing their clients to crowdfunders of Funding Circle and Assets Capital. They say they're two of the largest and growing crowdfunders in the marketplace. Funding Circle, fundingcircle.com, again, bringing private investors together with businesses looking to borrow. Now, they had a major milestone this week where they also surpassed £500 million worth of borrowing. At the speed they're growing, they'll probably be hitting £1 billion of borrowing, I'm sure, by the end of this year. Assets Capital, another peer-to-peer lender, a wide range of loan facilities just like Funding Circle, bridging loans, selective invoice discounting, medium and short-term loans, the whole lot. So it's a really interesting partnership with RBS now going to pass on their nose to the crowdfunding world. And just an example now how these old worlds and new worlds are beginning to merge together and how crowdfunding, it really is going mainstream. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops and what form that referral will take. So watch this space. Now, another alternative source of finance that many businesses have been turning to are friends and family, sometimes known as the 3 Fs, friends, families and fools. Well, a survey carried out by Everline, which is a short-term cash flow provider, found that just over 30% of business owners have said that they have turned to friends and family for support. Now, the one positive thing here with friends and family, it's quick and it's easy. But as I've mentioned in previous bulletins, you've got to be careful. Because the moment you default, if you say can't make that payment, then the relationship can very quickly turn sour. But as Everline found, it is growing popularity amongst business owners as a source of finance. Now, why are business owners turning there? Well, 71% of those surveyed by Everline said that they reckon that banks just don't understand the challenges faced by small businesses. And the main thing is cash flow. Many of them think that working capital or lack of working capital is holding their businesses back. And that's why they're turning to friends and family, and also obviously short-term cash flow providers like Everline and EasyBob, Liberius. There are many of them out there who will help bridge that cash flow gap. So if you are going to borrow from family or friends, as I've said previously, make sure that you have a formal agreement in place between both of you, so it's very clear what the levels of responsibilities are, so both you and the lender are actually protected. Now, what about my business tip of the week? Well, last weekend I was out in Amsterdam and I occasionally do a series of workshops on behalf of Kevin Green, who is an extensive property investor here in the UK, and he goes out sharing his business building tips. So I went out last weekend and delivered 2 sessions, and I got a clip for you from the session I delivered on the Saturday morning looking at this topic of cash flow. Now, just before the clip I'm going to show you, I've talked about what the sources of finance are for a business. One which is true cash, an overdraft limit from your bank, and even terms of credit from your suppliers. And the key thing is, well, what do you do with that money, and how does it move within the business? How does cash move? So let's go to that clip now, and you'll see where cash can stop.
Right. Cash moves. It moves. So the first point, it moves to something, you invest it in stock or raw materials. You buy stuff with it. Now, if you're a consultant, like me, I don't buy stock. My stock's up here. My intellectual property is my stock, okay? But if you're a consultant, this stage is all about putting the leads out, negotiating, cold calling, prospecting, whatever it may be. And this is the first place where money stops. And the clue about cash flow is actually two words, cash and flow. It moves. And profitable businesses collapse because cash stops moving. And this is where the first place, cash stops. We buy incorrectly where stock is concerned. I remember going to see one business. It's not actually too far from where Kevin lives, actually, a town in West Wales called Llanelli. Now, this guy sells stuff. So he has a warehouse of stock. And he needed to get some cash because he was late on his VAT. So called me in. And I had a look at his financial statements beforehand, and I could see where the problem lay, but he clearly didn't understand. So I walked into the business, we sat down and we had a chat about what the business is about, and the background, etc. I said, can we take a walk around your warehouse? So I walked around the warehouse, and it was packed full of stuff. Stuff from floor to ceiling, boxes and boxes of stuff. As we walked around, I said, so what's in here? Oh, this is good. There's a good profit here, good profit margin. And that sells, really good. So I said, how long has it been there then? 2 years, but when it sells, good money. I said, well, what's the point? The profit is irrelevant, it's stuck there. And it was the same stuff all the way through. Boxes upon boxes and boxes of stuff stacked up. And it was clear where all his cash had gone, why he didn't have any money. It was all around him. The cash had stopped. So what he did, and you may want to do this if you're in this situation or know somebody who's in this situation, he just opened an eBay account. Put it under a different brand, so it didn't damage his own brand, put it under a different brand, and persuaded him to have a fireside sale and get rid of the lot. And as a result, about 3 weeks into it, he sold enough that he didn't need to borrow any money because we raised enough cash for all the stuff that was sitting there. So, any business that's suffering cash flow, have a look. First place, are we carrying too much stock? An alternative source of finance, getting rid of stock.
So there we are. Just make sure that you're not holding too much excessive stock in order to make sure that cash really does flow within your business. So that's it for this week. Thanks very much for being with me. And as ever, if you did enjoy the video and you think your business colleagues would enjoy it, please feel free to share the link. Leave a couple of comments below if you did find it useful as well. So that's it for this week. I look forward to being with you again next Friday. And in the meantime, have a successful and profitable week. I look forward to being with you next Friday. Bye-bye now.